Okay, so I'm going to try to make this video to talk about my journey, I suppose, to get a better speaking voice, get better at public speaking, and just learn to like my voice a little bit more and feel a little bit more comfortable and confident in speaking and communicating, whether it's on a Zoom meeting at work or just in a regular social setting or just having the ability to communicate my needs. So if that's something that you struggle with or that's something that you want to improve in yourself, then this video is for you. So I'm mainly going to talk about the tool that I've found that has helped me, but I'll kind of like go into it a little bit because first I do want to state that if you watch YouTube and you follow creators, especially the successful creators on YouTube, just note that those are some of the best presenters in the world. Now, I'm not claiming to be that. I'm not a world class presenter by any means, but I have found improvement. And if you kind of want to see where you're at, then, I'd recommend picking up a camera and hitting record, because you may come to find that, you have a little weaknesses. And I've definitely found that in myself. Actually, when I was working in in an office like a project management role, I would have to do a lot of those meetings, the Zoom or Microsoft Teams video conferences. Sometimes I would have 20 or 30 of my colleagues in that meeting, as well as my boss or somebody else important, and be a little nervous, and it would come through in my voice. And also, just when you're in those meetings, much like this, like it's not a face to face communication that you're making. You can't use body language, you can't use any nonverbal cues, really. I mean, you can't really. All you have is your voice, that you're communicating to however many people it is. And you don't get any feedback like on in a in-person conversation. All the nonverbals, the mm-hms and the head nods and things like that, you don't get that. So it does make it really difficult, as well as this. And I wouldn't really have the confidence or the ability to sit here and do this and record this video, but I'm doing it. And to make matters worse, I normally have a beard, but I'm clean shaven, so I feel extra awkward doing this. But hopefully that drives home the point, that I have made some improvements. So, anyways, the main thing, and I've tried different like vocal exercises and stuff, but the main issue was not really having a routine and not being exec like guided. So I found an app, and I'm not. This is not a sponsored video or anything like that. So really, do your own research. But the app that I found, I got served an ad for it called Vocal Image, and it's an AI kind of AI assisted voice training app. And then it has like daily tasks that you complete, and they're pretty simple. So basically, you're given a script to read. You read it off and record it, and then there's about 3 minutes of like guided vocal training by your virtual uh, virtual voice coach. Yeah. And there are exercises that I wouldn't think to do, but they do help, and I guess they're kind of tailored to you based on where the AI sees your weaknesses and the goals that you created when you first set up your profile. Um, that those exercises really actually did bring help me with my voice, with as far as like getting like clarity, articulation, but also kind of like a deeper, or a more being able to project my voice, like it coming from like deeper, coming from my chest rather than coming from my head or something. I'm not exactly sure how they do it, but um, there's this other concept called diaphragmatic control, and that's basically controlling your diaphragm, because that's how your words come out. So to give you an example of that, if you were like driving down a bumpy road, and you're talking, your voice is not going to be very steady because you're bouncing around. But if you have really good diaphragmatic control, then you can maintain a steady voice even in that situation. And with these exercises, because you're kind of syncing up to a virtual coach, so to speak, they the just make sure. The other thing that's really important is recording your voice and then listening to it, and listening to it as an outside after the fact. It gives you that outsider's perspective and you can see how your voice actually sounds. There's a lot of things that you can't really hear when you're just listening to yourself talk because you feel the vibration and everything. So the sound is completely different and you can't really, in all honesty, form an opinion about the way you're talking as you're saying it, because you're concentrating on talking, you're not concentrating on analyzing what you're saying. So yeah, so that's been a big help, but mainly the main thing is having that routine and doing it every day or close to every day, not every day, but having that routine. So, anyways, I do recommend getting a kind of like a voice coaching app like this. So far, I did a little bit of research. This is the only one that I found that's specifically for like voice coaching, for like conversation, just speaking. Most of the other ones are for singing, which is cool, and I think that will actually really improve your voice as well. But no, this one I would recommend. Now, of course, you don't need to spend money on this app. You could, a lot of these things. There's plenty of coaches on YouTube that can go through a bunch of exercises. You don't even need that. You could do it on your own, and you could record it on your phone and then re-listen to it. But this, the reason why you would pay for something like this is for the value that you'll assign it. If you do pay for it, it's not that much, but if you do pay for it, you'll subconsciously assign a value to it, and that will motivate you to actually do it and be a little consistent, especially if you do it for just like a limited time. So you can take that time to work on this and be more consistent with it. And then just the structure that the app provides you is it's that's worth something on its own. And then yeah, the just falling into a routine. That's probably the most important thing, is that if you have the structure in place, then you can easily fall into the routine. So I mean, I that's probably worth another video on its own, just talking about how routines are the key to improvement and any kind of growth at all is having that routine. So yeah. So anyways, that's my take on it. I don't know where else to go from here, so I'll just go ahead and end it. Thank you. Stick around for more content.